We're going to talk about bar reciprocity. Bar reciprocity is when one state allows you to waive in to their bar after passing the bar in another state. A lot of attorneys will only look like in their current market or their current city or even their current state. If you look at other markets, you're going to drastically increase your chances of finding a job that matches what you're looking to do. A lot of people will worry about a complicated admission process in another state, so they kind of limit their search, but in reality it can be very easy to waive into some states. If you apply to several markets, you're going to have many additional options for your lifestyle. There's lifestyle differences in working in different markets, your salary, the prestige level of the firm. You might get into a more prestigious firm. You might be happier, and there's other considerations as well. And you may actually find a job you're the perfect fit for a firm in a given market. And if you've never even considered that market, opening yourself up can definitely help you quite a bit. Originally, I was going to move to New York, and I had a job lined up in New York for after I graduated from law school and then finished. I had a clerkship too, and I was thinking about going to New York, but it was just, New York to me seemed just, everyone was so serious and everyone took themselves so seriously, and the commute on the subway in the summer, it was like very hot, and a lot of times there wasn't air conditioning, and I wasn't sure I wanted to do that. So what I did is, just on a whim, I just sent my resume to a bunch of firms in California and went out there and interviewed with firms and found I liked it much better, and it seemed like a much better area for me to live. The salaries were just as high as they were in New York. It was easy to drive back and forth and have a house, and it just seemed to me like a better thing. So that was a lifestyle consideration that I made. Some other people may not want to drive. They may only want to use public transportation and live in New York, or they may want to have access to the cultural things that a city like New York has. But if you give yourself the ability to look at different markets, it's definitely going to help you out. Well, one thing you can do is, if you don't pass the bar in your home state, you can always find an easier state to take the bar in. So Pennsylvania has always been considered very easy. There's a lot of states where it's much easier. And the reason to take the bar in another state is because it's easier, but also you want to make sure that you get admitted somewhere. So then you're a lawyer and you have that on your resume. The best time to take the bar exam is really just as quickly as you can right after you get out of law school, because you're still kind of in law student mode where you're used to studying and applying yourself over a long period of time. The concepts of law school are still fresh in your mind. The longer you wait, the more difficult it's going to be. Also, when people are out of law school for a while, they have kids, they have other responsibilities, you may have a job, and so you should really take it as quickly as you possibly can. I personally didn't take the bar exam until after a clerkship, and that was a bad time to take it because I didn't have a lot of time to study. I was working, and it just wasn't the right time. So the faster you take it, the better. There's a growing trend of using the uniform bar exam, which is a set of 3 testing devices designed to provide a uniform way of measuring performance for people to take the bar exam across the country. And in theory, the uniform bar exam fosters portability of the law license, which is a good thing. Some states have additional requirements. The UBE is comprised of the multi-state bar exam, which is 200 multiple choice questions, generally on constitutional law, contracts, criminal law and procedure, federal civil procedure, evidence, real property, torts, and then there's a multi-state essay examination and the multi-state performance test. Some states utilize all or different portions of that. A recent graduate generally should take multiple bar exams if they can right away, right after law school. So a lot of states will structure the bar exam. So for example, in New York, you can take New York and then New Jersey at the same time. And so people can take multiple exams at the same time, so they arrange them that way. Admission and motion is when one state allows an attorney admitted in another state to waive into the bar. Not all states do this. Some states have individual requirements, such as being sponsored by a local attorney. And some states allow admission and motion only from states that have reciprocity to that state. So not every state's going to have reciprocity. And that just means attorneys from state A can waive into state B and vice versa. There's some states where that's difficult to do, like for example, California. It's very difficult, but for most states it can be done. Another way an attorney can practice law in a different state is being admitted pro hoc vice on a given matter. And pro hoc vice means just for that particular occasion. So it would just be for one case or matter that they're working on. Normally, a lawyer must be experienced and sponsored by a member of the local bar association as well. There are some exceptions as well for being admitted in one state to work there. There's an exception for in-house counsel work. You don't necessarily need to be admitted in the bar in California, for example, to be in-house counsel, but you need to be admitted for that purpose only, as in-house counsel. The first thing is not to get discouraged if you fail the bar exam. Get back up and keep going and trying. You need to study harder the next time for the bar exam and really put in a lot of effort, and don't make sure you're not working. You need at least 6 weeks generally of nothing but full-time study to pass. Another option too is just to take a bar exam in a state with a high pass rate, depending on what you want to do, because then you'll be an attorney, and that's important. If you're asked in an interview why you took a bar exam in a given state that you took it because there was an easy pass rate, just say you fell in love with the city and you really wanted to, you were thinking about working there, even if you never do. But the big thing is that most of the people you're competing with for jobs will be admitted to the bar, so you need to make sure that you have that.